Today we're going to be looking at Roadhog's new changes on the PTR, specifically his 50% damage reduction while he's healing up. We decided to test most of the ultimates in the game on Roadhog while he's healing up, just so you guys get a sense of how much less damage he'll take with this new 50% damage reduction. Hanzo's ultimate, which is Dragon Strike, does 200 damage per second, so with the 50% damage reduction, that's going to be 100 damage per second.
Alright, well you lived through a Hanzo.
Tracer's Pulse Bomb does 5 impact damage and 400 explosion damage, so that's a total of 405 damage. Add the 50% damage reduction and that's going to be 202.5 damage onto Roadhog.
This is like no damage.
Junkrat also got some new changes in this update, but his Riptire explosion damage is still the same. He can do a total of 600 damage, and that's a that translates to 300 damage for Roadhog. Soldier's Tactical Visor does have fall-off damage, but we're testing this at point-blank range. So at this range, each shot is going to do 20 damage by default, so it's going to be 10 damage. So Pharah's Rocket Barrage lasts 3 seconds. She's shooting 30 rockets per second for a total of 90 rockets throughout her ult. Each rocket's going to do 40 damage. And we didn't test this at entirely point blank range, but this is probably the closest you'll get in any real life situation in Overwatch. 40 damage per rocket, add the 50% damage reduction, that's only 20 damage per rocket.
What justice! Oh my god! Wait, you last?
During Genji's Dragon Blade, he can swing his sword for a maximum of 7 times. Each swing is going to do 120 damage. With the 50% damage reduction, that's a mere 60 damage per swing.
Fast as I can go.
Now D.Va's self-destruct does have fall-off damage, but at point blank range, the mech is going to do 1000 damage. So if Roadhog times it right, he can survive a point blank D.Va ult. So each of the explosive shells coming out of Bastion's tank ult is going to do 205 damage, and that's going to translate into 102.5 damage per shell. Doomfist's Meteor Strike does have fall-off damage, again, but at the epicenter of the area of effect, it does 300 damage, and that's going to be 150 damage to Roadhog. So Death Blossom does a total of 510 damage, and that's 170 damage per second, so even without the damage reduction, Roadhog can easily survive this ult. So the Overwatch wiki actually doesn't have the exact number of damage per second that Molten Core does, so I actually had to crunch the numbers myself. But it does a total of 126 damage per second. Cut it in half, that's going to be 63 damage per second for Roadhog. A fully charged Widowmaker headshot does 300 damage, so that's only 150 damage with the reduction. So for Zenyatta, we did 3 different tests. The first test was hitting all 5 orbs on a headshot with no Discord. Second test was hitting all 5 orbs on a headshot with Discord. And the third one was hitting all 5 orbs on the headshot with Discord and with the Roadhog damage reduction. So hitting all 5 orbs as headshots onto the enemy hero will do 460 damage, which is enough to kill anyone in the game who's not a tank. Adding a Discord orb into the mix is going to do 30% more damage, which results in 598 damage, which is almost enough to kill Roadhog. It's going to leave him barely alive with 2 health. Oh! Of course, taking all those numbers into consideration, 598 damage with the 50% damage reduction is going to equal 299 damage taken. So the best number I could pull from the wiki on Roadhog's Whole Hog ability is that it does a maximum of 5,000 damage over the course of his entire ultimate. So even with the 50% damage reduction, if Roadhog gets trapped into a corner by another enemy ulting Roadhog, he won't be able to survive it.
Juan.